This is why it's important to be honest in your color consultation, because your hair gonna tell on you every time. So initially my client wanted a brown base and blonde highlight, which I was excited to do because after our consultation, I thought she had virgin hair. Child, come to find out, the hair been doing it a little bit. This was the result after I put the brown base color on. Hair still just as black as February, and that's when I found out she had been coloring her hair with Adore, which made all the sense because her hair was suspiciously black. But if you tell me you ain't color your hair, I'ma believe you. Why would I think it was a scheme that Todd set up? But after going over her options, my girl said she wanted to leave there with something. Thankfully, I had the extra time and she had the extra money, so I locked in and got to work. And no, I was not mad at her. It would have been great to know what I was getting myself into ahead of time, but at the end of the day, I love what I do. And she was very understanding that the end result was going to be different given the situation, which made my job a lot easier. But this has also taught me to be even more thorough in my consultations, because the more mishaps that I can prevent outside of the chair means that I increase my efficiency behind the chair. And I love that for me.
This is exactly why consultations are not just small talk before a color service. They are one of the most important parts of protecting the integrity of the hair. In all honesty, this stylist handled this situation far better than many people online probably realize, because what she is describing is something colorists, trichologists, and corrective hair specialists encounter all the time. For those of you who are new here, my name is Djanie, and I'm an advanced hair, scalp, and skin practitioner with almost 30 years experience within this industry, and I specialize in textured hair and scalp health. I operate within my clinic, which is called Vegan Hair Salon. Now let's unpack what happened here, because there are several important professional, chemical, and trichological points in this video that I want to highlight to you. First of all, hair always tells the truth. It does. And this is something I say to clients and patients constantly. People can forget dates, they can forget products, they can forget other things and underestimate previous chemical services, but the hair fiber records everything. This is why I call this the hair history illusion, because many clients genuinely believe if the color was done months ago, it's gone. Clinically and chemically, that is not necessarily true, especially when we're discussing dyes, metallic salts, repeated dark deposits on the hair, henna mixtures, or direct pigments onto the hair. And in this case, the stylist immediately recognized something was wrong because the hair remained extremely dark after the base color application. Now, this part is important. The client mentioned using Adore. This is where social media has created enormous confusion, because many people assume if it is semi-permanent, it is harmless, or if it fades, it's completely gone. Not necessarily. Certain direct dyes and heavily deposited pigments can linger within the cuticle and cortex far longer than clients expect it to do, especially black dyes, blue, black dyes, red pigments, fashion colors, repeated layering of color, and textured hair can become particularly complicated in these situations, because the fiber may already have various porosity, previous heat damage, mechanical fragility, curl pattern inconsistencies, or old overlapping chemical history. Now, you're probably thinking, so why didn't the brown just show up? Because color theory and cosmetic chemistry do not work the way many people think they do online. Color does not lift color. And this is where inexperienced color work becomes dangerous. Previously deposited artificial pigments can interfere with color uptake and lift, the oxidation process, the tone development, porosity behavior, and the final predictability. This is why corrective color work is one of the most technically demanding services in this industry. And in all honesty, this stylist clocked the issue very quickly. The suspiciously dark appearance of the hair was already giving clues. Hair often reveals hidden chemical history through uneven porosity, excessive shine, banding and patchiness, or even sometimes it is resistant to lift, or it lifts with an unexpected warmth or excessive darkness or inconsistent processing. Now, this is where consultation becomes critical, because a proper consultation It's not simply what color do you want. A proper consultation should explore previous color history, relaxers or any other chemical treatments, keratin treatments, box dyes, henna application, direct dye, and even medication. I also consider hair loss history, breakage history, heat practices, scalp sensitivity, home maintenance, and realistic expectations within my consultation. And honestly, this reminds me of something a client once said to me that really stayed with me. She told me she originally thought my pre-appointment consultation process was just nagging until the day she arrived for her appointment and I had to cancel the service because she had not followed the pre-appointment requirements properly. Now, at the time, she was frustrated, completely frustrated. But afterwards, she admitted to me that she finally understood why I ask all those questions. Because what clients often don't realize is that consultations are not there to make your life difficult. They are there to prevent avoidable damage. And this is where many people underestimate something very important. The cosmetic industry sells transformation, but the hair fiber still obeys chemistry every single time. Now, one thing I respected in this video was the professionalism from both sides. The stylist stayed calm, the client stayed understanding, expectations were adjusted to suit what had now happened, and a safer alternative outcome was created. This is professional hair care, and I am incredibly impressed by this because, contrary to social media culture, good stylists are not supposed to promise impossible results. And honestly, one of the biggest red flags in this industry is when somebody guarantees dramatic color transformations without discussing limitations, porosity, integrity, previous chemical use, or long-term maintenance. That is how severe breakage happens. That is how elasticity collapse happens. That is how clients end up with chemical cuts, snap off of the hair, porosity overload, irreversible damage, or in severe cases, chemical-induced alopecia from overlapping harsh service near the compromised hair follicles. Now let's discuss porosity for a second, because this is another area that people misunderstand online. Porosity refers to the hair's ability to absorb and retain moisture and chemicals, and previous color services can significantly alter porosity behavior of the hair overall. Some areas may become overly resistant, while others become overly porous, which means the hair no longer processes uniformly. Now, this is where many DIY color disasters begin, because people think if one area processed well, the whole head will. Absolutely not. Hair can have multiple chemical histories on one single head, especially in textured hair clients with old relaxers, heat damage, protective styling history, old color bands, chemical stress, and inconsistent home care practices. And this is why strand testing is one of the most underrated protective tools in professional hair care. A strand test can reveal processing speed, lifting behavior, elasticity changes, tone exposure, breakage risk, and incompatibility before the entire head is compromised. That is not being difficult as a stylist. That is risk management. And another important point that the stylist mentioned was that this situation had taught her to become even more thorough in her consultations. That level of self-reflection is important professionally, because experienced practitioners understand something very powerful. Most catastrophic hair disasters begin before the service even starts, not during the consultation, not during unrealistic expectation, not during incomplete disclosures, or rushing the decision making. That is where the real danger actually begins. And honestly, this is one reason why at my clinic, we place enormous emphasis on consultations, scalp assessments, strand testing, realistic planning. Because healthy hair transformation should never come at the expense of long-term follicular integrity. And social media has unfortunately normalized instant gratification, same-day dramatic transformations, and chemically aggressive services without discussing the biological cost to the fiber and the scalp. We don't do that in my clinic. But once the integrity of the fiber is severely compromised, sometimes the only remaining option that you have at your exposure is cutting damaged hair away. I also wanted people to understand something. Many clients are not intentionally dishonest. Sometimes they genuinely forget previous color and not understand what products contain or assume temporary color doesn't count. But chemically, it absolutely counts. We know that as professionals. The hair remembers everything. And this is why transparent communication between client and stylist or trichologist is so important, because once the hair reaches a certain level of chemical compromise, there is no undo button. We can't just press the button and then it goes away. Only damage control. That's all we can do. Now, overall, I actually think this video showed something positive: professionalism, adaptability, client communication, expectation management, and the importance of consultation culture. I'm so happy with this video, because good hair care is not just about creating beautiful results. It is about preserving the long-term health of the fiber and the scalp while creating those results safely. And the best colorists are not the ones who can make hair blonde the fastest. The best colorists are the ones who know when to slow down. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts below. Have any of you ever experienced a color results that went completely differently than expected? And would you like me to do deeper videos on color correction, porosity, box dye complications, relaxers and color, strand testing, chemical damage, or consultation red flags? Anything you want, put them in the comments below. Let me know.